Hello everyone, I'm Marie-Claude, great-granddaughter of Marie-Lise, granddaughter of Yvette, and daughter of Francine, and I act as temporary Bear Clan representative in the Life Givers Nation. Today, I just want to give a summary of the meeting I participated yesterday with the Longhouse and the Stalk community. The beautiful work being done by Desiree, Harold, Eric on there, and there's beautiful people that just keeps popping up. So yesterday's meeting was March 18th. I'm going to also share the link for the entire recording. But basically, it was a critique to science. You know, the Longhouse explained at the beginning how science is so destructive. Give an example of this machine that basically can shred like a 60-foot tall tree in like no time. And by shredding it, you know, there's nothing that can be used. It's a complete waste of that tree. You know, we could have used the wood or whatever. And also, we talked about how science doesn't explain the negative repercussion of that tree also being gone. And you know, but they know about those repercussions. So great exchange. There was a person from Australia called John Smith that logged in. He's native from the Waka Waka nation. He also has Irish and Scottish descent, but he basically explained that his grandmother was chained basically as a child, and his grandfather was forced to walk 400 kilometers to be just dropped in another territory with other nations and just completely uprooted basically. And so the genocide, how it happened there, you know, he only shared a little bit of this, so and said that he would be coming back. But it's very exciting because then there's going to be like, of course, a lot of bridges that could be built between Australia and the Longhouse in the process. John talked about the ancient law of Australia, but he didn't say any word or any name of it. But of course, we'll be very interested to know about what the law is. And he says that he invented the email even before GoDaddy or Google, those big corporation. So he knows a lot about that, and he wants to put in place a new ecosystem for good and link with all people that has the same intention of true communication, and do it for our Mother Earth, and you know, have true communication going between people. We talked about the Ururu in the desert in Australia. In the middle of the desert, there's a rock. It's one solid rock called Ururu, and the Longhouse explained that it represents the amygdala in the body. So and it should never be touched by water. And very interesting to be explained, you know, the importance of that rock, and you know, the function as well. We talked a little bit about coal, you know, how coal when under pressure will transform into diamond. So talked about alchemy, and the Longhouse says, you know, life givers are alchemists. You know, they know how to do more with different ingredients. You know, the sum of the things put together is bigger than what it is at the beginning. So, but witchcraft is to change that natural state and extract the energy of that to use it against itself. So we talked about hemp, for instance, that is this amazing medicine, but once used to destroy, then it's witchcraft. There was also a little bit of exchange on music that came out of the cotton field of the slaves that were working there and that were singing to help their spirit, and how the US stole all of these songs and reappropriate and made billions out of this. And of course, the true creator of those songs never seen any profit from that. So the black men never seen anything coming back to them. But the Longhouse explained how folk songs, blues, rock and roll basically emerged from those cotton fields. We talked about the colors in fall in this part of the world, where you know, it's just so breathtaking. People just go around to take a ride to see how beautiful those colors are. And once those colors fall off the tree, the trees during the fall, they decompose into the snow. So it goes from being so colorful to being white, and then animals, microbes, everything gets break down, and the energy is used, from different, yes, from the microbe, the animals all get disappeared into the snow, and then the color comes back in the spring. And then it made the link between the wata. So the maple is giving the water right now. The maples are running. It's a beautiful medicine. Each cycle, now my body craves it. I never knew to drink the wata, just the water coming off the tree without even boiling it, because that's the medicinal properties that you get. And the Longhouse explained that the tree is still feeding. So when the tree is feeding, of course, the water is going up to the leaves, to the branches, but he explained that the wata, so the water that we collect, comes down with the gravity, and this is the excess of water that the trees give then to us. We talked also about the fact that they tried to ferment it to make alcohol. So basically, again, to do sort of witchcraft with it, because it's a medicine at first, and if you boil it, of course, and you're not going to get the medicine. And it was impossible to make alcohol with the wata, and the maples then was granted to be the leader of the trees. That's how they see the wata being the leader of the trees. We talked a little bit about space and how space represents cancer going on to other cells or other parts of the body. So, and that's what cancer does. So we are here, human being, we are destroying the earth. So we are the equivalent of a cancer. And now the fact that space colonizations and the colonization of the moon, it being so pushed by all countries of the earth, just expose that it's a cancer expanding, basically. And we also talked about war and how it's just a handful of people on the earth that are cheering for war, a really, really small minority of these people, and the rest of us, the majority, is impose a state of war, and the equivalent of commodification is death. We are all commodified, through all kinds of process, and including war as well. And we talked also about psychology. I personally made a BA in psychology at the University of Montreal, and we talked a lot about this with the Longhouse, where psychology actually is based on the founding fathers, or like Freud. And if you dig a little bit, you see that they're pedophiles, and all these strange explanations that they try to put into people's heads. People who are suffering in the first place, that comes to get some help, get completely confused with these theories that are very destructive. So that's another example of the destructive science, and how in the schools, they used to have those tables that were there, with pamphlets, and it was war recruitment, come work for the army kind of thing. But it's also in the program itself, in those universities, because if you are learning, say, environmental studies, but the end product is that you are actually destroying the earth, well, it's a destruction process, and it's the equivalent of military recruitment within those different fields of so-called science, space colonization, etc. And in, say, psychology, they do encourage people to always talk about what happened to them, their traumas, and talk about it. It's basically the main thing. A psychologist or a psychiatrist will just sit down with a person for years and just listen to them. And the Longhouse approach is really, you don't do that. You don't name the trauma constantly like this, because you stay there. You cannot evolve past it. This keeps you triggered in that trauma, and it's a completely reversed approach. So another example how science is not being conducive to us. So anyways, I hope you find this useful. I will be sharing, as I said, the recording of the entire meeting, and we'll see you soon. Skanagoa.